Well, everyone, you shouldn't be surprised on who is buying Bitcoin right now, and actually who stopped a little while ago, but now is buying. I'm going to cover that. But first, we have $6 million of shorts getting liquidated during that little tiny pump we've just experienced, which shows us that people are really leveraged to the max to lose $6 million. Like, come on, guys, stop gambling. All right, moving on. We have some pretty bullish news for those who are in inflation hedges like us and, gold people as well. Global money supply is exploding. Bitcoin will follow. Check out this chart from Mr. Crypto. This is M2 money supply. Think of it as the amount of currency that is in circulation. Okay, so that is exploding. This explosion isn't done, okay? This is a volcano that has plenty of fuel in it, okay? Central banks aren't even remotely going to slow down. They're actually going to increase their amount of printing. Now, you may think that, no, that's not true. The Federal Reserve might be ousted or whatever. That's not true either. They're in full force right now, printing like crazy. Even though Trump says he's studying whether he has the ability to fire Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Now, I'm not going to hate on this guy, okay? But you have to understand what he's saying here. You have to think about it this way. How can he get rid of Jerome Powell, who's Trump's boss? He's the Federal Reserve chairman. The Federal Reserve doesn't get told what to do. They've been around since way before 1913. Yes, the Federal Reserve Act was passed in 1913, but they've been around. Those families that own the Federal Reserve, the private unelected Federal Reserve, have been around for a very long time. He has no say whatsoever. And if he thinks he does have a say, he doesn't know the enemy of the United States and the people of the world, which is really scary. That should definitely worry you. Trump is right when he says Fed Powell is not doing great, but he's wrong where he says, I could remove him quickly if I wanted to. He actually said that. So guys, you got to take your emotions out of politics and realize that these are just puppets and they're going to say whatever they need to appease the masses, okay? And he doesn't have any say about what the Federal Reserve is doing, okay? So let's move on to more important news, because we all know that no standing president will ever be able to touch the Federal Reserve, okay? Just get that in your head. Never going to happen. Get the hope out. And do you think Trump is going to come out and do a press conference and go, all right, guys, I looked into this. Turns out I can't do anything about the Federal Reserve chairman. But you know what? It makes me wonder, like, if somebody knows Trump, you should tell them to read the book called The Creature from Jekyll Island, or The Century of Enslavement, the documentary by James Corbett. Brilliant, okay? That's where you get to learn about the secret Federal Reserve. You may think it's just some conspiracy theory, but it's not. This is actually happening, okay? And you're working your butt off for the Federal Reserve, essentially. Now, let's move on to Credibull. I do like this guy. He's a great trader. In my opinion, yes, he gets some things wrong. So does every single trader out there. But look at this. He says, it's been 3 to 4 months since the last post I made on long-term holder supply, in which I showed that long-term holders have been net distributing on the rise from $68,000 to $110,000 Bitcoin. And he's right. We're one of those people that were unloading some Bitcoin from the rise, actually from $100,000 to $110,000. And if you can check us out at learningcrypto.com if you want to see exactly when we're buying and when we are selling, because we definitely took profit when everybody was screaming, why are you taking profit? This thing's going to go to the moon. They haven't been around for 4 different bull markets. That's why they're saying that. Okay, so he says also the distribution almost always occurs during impulsive PA as long-term holders sell into pumps. This is normal, expected. And now in bull markets, we can see that the selling continued aggressively into the $110,000 range, but then began to slow into March. As of April, long-term holders have officially begun accumulating Bitcoin once more. For the last 7 months, long-term holders sold into the rip. Now they're buying the dip. That's great news. And I've been saying, along with a couple other people, most people are pretty bearish actually. Most people think I'm just crazy saying that we are still in a bull market. But we are still in a bull market, guys. I mean, we're in $85,000. Tell me, when FTX collapsed and we went down to like $16,500, or no, under that, $15,500. Could you imagine the euphoria if we ended up going like the next day to $85,000? Be pretty freaking bullish, right? People would be like dancing in the streets. Now it's the most, like, the sentiment is destroyed in the crypto space, which is great. You know, I enjoy that because that means that there's less hype in the space. That means people are more level-headed and there's no euphoria, which is great. That's what you want to see in a healthy market, okay? So let me know what your thoughts are down below. I'd love to hear it if you think we are in a bear market or a bull market. And before I leave this, there's no euphoria and Bitcoin's at $85,000. What the heck? See you guys.